Introduction. Nothing can do men of good will more harm than apparent compromises with parties that subscribe to anti-moral and anti-democratic and anti-God forces. We must have the courage to detach our support from men who are doing evil. We must bear them no hatred, but we must break with them. Bolton J. Sheen. But wait a minute. But the Catholic Church is pro-life. Donald Trump to pro-choice Catholic Democrat Chris Matthews, March 2016. The Catholic voter. There have been numerous sociological studies on the changing Catholic voter. Throughout much of the 20th century, Catholics naturally gravitated towards the Democratic Party. And if you grew up Catholic in Boston or in the barrios of Los Angeles in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you probably socialized with even fewer Republicans than you did Protestants. But that has changed as the Democratic Party has tacked hard left and beyond, such that it seems if you are pro-life or anti-gay marriage or anti-drag queen story hours, your chances of finding a home at the national level in Democratic politics reside somewhere between slim and none on the probability scale, and slim has left the building. Witness the January exchange between Christian Day, the president of Democrats for Life, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Christian Day, audience. I am a proud pro-life Democrat. So, do you want the support of pro-life Democrats? Pro-life Democratic voters? There are about 21 million of us. And if so, would you support more moderate platform language in the Democratic Party to ensure that the party of diversity, of inclusion really does include everybody? Buttigieg. And the best that I can offer, and it may win your vote, and if not, I understand, the best I can offer is that if we can't agree on where to draw the line, the next best thing we can do is agree on who should draw the line. And in my view, it's the woman who's faced with the decision in her own life. Asked by moderator Chris Wallace if she was satisfied with that answer, Day replied, "No, I was not, because he did not answer the second part of my question." And the second part was, the Democratic platform contains language that basically says that we don't belong. We have no part in the party, because it says abortion should be legal up to 9 months. The government should pay for it. And there's nothing that says that people who have a diversity of views on this issue should be included in the party. In 1996, and I guess several years after that, there was language in the Democratic platform that said that we understand that people have very differing views on this issue, but we are a big tent party that includes everybody. And so therefore, we welcome you, people like me, into the party so we can work on issues that we agree on. So my question was, would you be open to language like that in the Democratic platform that really did say that our party is diverse and inclusive and we want everybody? Mayor Pete explained his support for the platform as written and concluded by saying, truthfully it must be said, which is to his credit, and again, the best I can offer is that we may disagree on that very important issue, and hopefully we will be able to partner on this on other issues. To which Day replied, cutting to the chase, so that would be a no. Wallace concluded the exchange by noting, I think it's fair to say Christian is not clapping, but that's part of the process. Yes, it is part of the process. A process that has been unfolding since Roe v. Wade was made the law of the land by judicial fiat, and one which may be approaching its denouncement in terms of the relationship between Catholics and the Democratic Party. And when that relationship ends, the Democratic Party, for all intents and purposes, ends. To say nothing of when the Bernie Bros revolt if their candidate is blocked again by the Democratic National Committee. As an aside, one imagines that Bernie will carry the Wisconsin Democratic primary in a landslide if the homeowners there know what's good for them. More than a few Republicans will probably cross over in that primary election just to guarantee a Bernie win in that race. Even the bluest of blue cheeseheads most likely go white in the face at the prospect of Molotov cocktails and burning barricades in Milwaukee come July. Statistics are boring, but anecdotally, it is safe to say that whereas 50 years ago Catholics as a voting bloc were a lock to vote overwhelmingly for the Democrats, Now, because of that party's hard left swing on social issues on the one hand, and Trump's success in wooing a good percentage of labor Catholics away from them on the other, the Catholic vote is set to go for the Republicans on a massive scale in 2020. How could it be otherwise? This is no longer your daddy's Democratic Party. Catholic Democrats have to decide if they are leaving the party or if the party left them. Many, like the authors, asked and answered that question years, even decades ago. Many more are doing so now. The Republicans may have made it difficult in years past by being perceived as the party that was for Wall Street to the detriment of the average working man, but that is less and less the case today, especially in recent decades, as the Democrats have been, if anything, just as big money connected dependent. Just ask any Bernie supporter. And in any case, there is the I for independent designation. But regardless, Donald Trump has flipped that long-standing narrative, and the Trump brand of republicanism is reshaping the American political landscape. Social issues of particular importance to Catholics. A strange fanaticism fills our time, the fanatical hatred of morality, especially of Christian morality. G.K. Chesterton. The 2016 election was a critical one for Catholics in the United States of America. Practicing Catholics know that the Democrats' stand on social issues like abortion has been at odds with church teaching and basic morality for a long time. Hence, there has been a gradual migration of many from the political party of their forefathers as they could not reconcile the conflict. However, many Catholics, and practically all of them in high public office, have chosen to compromise their supposed or professed moral beliefs in order to continue to support the party that their family has always supported. They rationalize that disconnect for many years by their native disagreement with the Republicans on economic issues and by taking refuge in the personally oppose but don't want to impose my morality dodge. We say dodge because all law is an imposition of morality on someone who may disagree. If we want to drive 100 miles per hour in a school zone, society imposes its morality on us. Sadly, over the course of time, many people came to prioritize their identity as Democrats over their identity as Catholics. Tragically, that loyalty to the Democratic Party has been the solvent in which the faith lives of innumerable Catholics, many prominent politicians among them, have dissolved. One thing that changed with the 2016 election is the Democrats' increasingly obvious embrace of the most radical expressions of things with which most Catholics, to say nothing of other people of goodwill, are at the very least uncomfortable. The mask is off for all to see. In truth, it has been for some time, but there seems to be an increased urgency among the Democrats to make anyone with the slightest vestigial attachment to traditional Christian morality uncomfortable. One could say that those controlling the donkey party became radicalized slowly at first, and then all of a sudden. Witness how quickly the change in the view of normative human sexuality has occurred. It seems like just yesterday that civil unions, not gay marriage mind you, civil unions were being hotly debated in places like Massachusetts and Vermont. Fast forward to today, and Elizabeth Warren informs us that whomever she nominates to be her Secretary of Education will be interviewed and vetted by a 9-year-old trans student. What? And she tells us that the prison in which a man who thinks he is a woman is incarcerated, is one of the most important issues facing us today. So much for, it's the economy, stupid. Apparently in 2020, it is trans convict housing. But it is not just that they are crazy. That would be merely humorous if their craziness did not have such tragic consequences and did not affect our lives. What, one wonders, caused so many old-school Catholic Labor Democrats to vote for Trump in 2016 and probably will, and certainly should, cause many more, including Hispanics, to do so in 2020? Catholic Democrats go woke. That is what happened. Not woke in the normal parlance of that cool new term, look it up if you have to, but they woke up to the craziness of the Democrats at the national level as reflected in the truly evil nature of their views on life issues, and the increasingly totalitarian nature of their views vis-a-vis religious freedom. In addition to the absolute hostility of the Democrat leadership to traditional Christianity, many Catholic Democrats also woke up to the fact that Donald Trump is, in fact, closer to their beliefs on economic matters and foreign policy than anyone that either party would put forward for their establishments. Donald Trump was and is the Republican candidate who, in a sense, gave them permission to leave the reservation. One wonders if 2020 will be the year in which Karen Day and millions like her finally take no for an answer. The 2016 election was, and this is no exaggeration, a true tipping point in the moral direction of our country. Simply put, if Hillary Clinton had won, the ability of Catholics to practice and live the faith would have been increasingly curtailed. Democrat dogma demands it. As the normalization of the most extreme abortion rights views and the most intolerant tolerance enforcement of the LGBTQ agenda proceeded apace, consider how much religious freedom has been lost already and how much more would have been had the radical Democrats retained power. Catholic organizations, like Catholic Charities in Boston a number of years ago, have been driven from the adoption process for not being willing to place children with homosexual couples. With the passage of Obamacare and its contraception mandate, the Little Sisters of the Poor for crying out loud, and other groups had to go to court to be allowed not to violate their consciences by offering contraceptive coverage. President Trump has expressed his support for the sisters in both word and deed. Following our thoughts on Donald Trump in light of some particular issues that should loom large in the decision-making process of any Catholic when it comes time to vote. In truth, that is what the entire book is about, but abortion and religious freedom bear special mention.